Tell us a little bit about what you mean by quantum surfing. What is that?
Yeah, yeah. Quantum surfing is really a way of understanding our world and how reality works so that you can have greater impact with more joy and more ease. We have fallen into a way of producing results that we affectionately call the grind,
Mhm.
and it's actually putting blinders on us so that we're not seeing the real innovation that's available and in our environments already. So,
Mhm.
quantum surfing, I always like to say, stop paddling, which is the grind, and start surfing, which is catching innovation in the moment.
What does it take to recognize good luck and opportunities as they're emerging? Find out more. Join us for episode 425 of Growth Igniters Radio with Pam Harper and Scott Harper.
This episode is brought to you by Business Advancement Incorporated, enabling successful leaders and companies to accelerate to their next level of success. On the web at businessadvance.com. And now, here's Pam and Scott.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Pam Harper, founding partner and CEO of Business Advancement Incorporated. And right along with me, as always, is my business partner and husband, Scott Harper.
Hi, everybody. It's wonderful to be with you again. And as always, Growth Igniters Radio is especially for visionary top leadership teams of mid-market and large companies. Our purpose is to ignite new thinking and inspiration for game-changing business innovation and transformational growth.
And remember, Growth Igniters Radio is only one of the ways we partner with top leadership teams to ignite game-changing transformational growth. Find out more. Visit businessadvance.com today and schedule a call.
Now, these days, so many of us would love to have more good luck. And it's easy to recognize luck in hindsight, especially good luck. That's the lucky break that just worked out, meeting the right person at the right time, stuff like that.
Yes, but recognizing good luck and opportunities as they're emerging, that's a whole nother game. And in this business environment, it requires a mindset that's primed for it. And that's why we're excited to speak with our returning guest, Monica Laurence. Now, she joined us in 2023 to talk about being predictably lucky, which doesn't seem like a long time, but a lot has happened.
A lot has happened since then. And in fact, since that time, Monica wrote her best-selling book, Quantum Surfing. It was published in April of 2026.
And we recommend this book very highly.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to our earlier conversation with Monica, here's a bit about her. She's a TEDx speaker, global entrepreneur, business strategist, and mentor to founders. She draws on her experience in Hollywood entertainment, international consulting, and Silicon Valley startups. She's also the founder of Tavola, a luxury resort in Fiji. You can read much more about Monica by going to growthignitersradio.com, episode 425, and scroll down to resources. Monica, welcome back to Growth Igniters Radio.
What a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
so excited to have an invitation to sit and chat all about luck and finding opportunities where there seems to be none and seeing those in the moment. So thank you so much for bringing me back.
It's
Yes, it is a pleasure. And so, building on this, because we want you back here, but tell us a little bit about what you mean by quantum surfing. What is that?
Yeah, yeah. Quantum surfing is really a way of understanding our world and how reality works so that you can have greater impact with more joy and more ease. We have fallen into a way of producing results that we affectionately call the grind,
Mhm.
and it's actually putting blinders on us so that we're not seeing the real innovation that's available and in our environments already. So,
Mhm.
quantum surfing, I always like to say, stop paddling, which is the grind, and start surfing, which is catching innovation in the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
So just to clarify, where does the name quantum surfing come from? Because that's an original.
It is an original. So I started experiencing a different reality, a multidimensional quantum reality. And it was so powerful that I wanted to share it with people. And so I started trying to explain the dynamic. And people were very bewildered because we're so stuck in
Yeah.
how we think about life. We never
Uh,
question the kind of playbook that we were given. And so
Uh,
we don't understand that we're not operating with truths, we're operating with perhaps outdated assumptions. And
mhm.
so I needed a way to share this kind of landscape with people. And in science, if you know, Erwin Schrödinger talks about the Wade equation. It's like, what we're really doing is we're like paddling so hard and using our own energy. But what the Wade equation shows us is that there's energy all around us and that it travels in waves. So if we can catch a wave, we can actually do more with less of our own energy. So that was really the inspiration for quantum surfing because I like this background of science and business and what I would call applied enlightenment. Not
yeah.
spiritual principles just because they're spiritual, but because you can actually do something with it.
Okay.
So,
Now, I can imagine that there are some people out here in the business world that might hear that and go, huh? Well, but we've talked about this before. You've done
Mhm.
research about
Yes.
the world and about how things happen that led you to conclude that luck is not just random chance if you have your eyes open in the right way. Is that right?
That's right. And I wasn't the researcher who did all of this painstaking work. We can really credit Richard Wiseman for a decade of research into the difference between people who are lucky and unlucky.
Mhm.
He was curious if there was a reason that some people seem to live under bright skies and others are living under a cloud. And what he discovered is that it's quite simple. People who are lucky have different behaviors.
Uh-huh.
So then he went on to show that if you adopt those behaviors, you yourself can emerge from that cloud and become lucky. We can go into the behaviors in this conversation, but what really is happening here is that your ability to access luck and opportunities is really about treating luck as a flow state, as something you're experiencing rather than interpreting as a fluke.
Okay.
So the
That makes sense, and I think that's a really good way to put it, because in this segment, we're really staying at a high level. We're going to go deeper, you know that. But right now, if somebody had to say, "What is this book about in a nutshell?" and "What is quantum surfing really in a nutshell?"
As it
I
applies to leadership,
as it applies to
especially.
leadership,
Yeah.
what would you
Mhm.
say?
I'm excited about setting our best and brightest free for their biggest dreams to come true as fast as possible. I feel like we live in a more colorful, dynamic, incredibly productive world when people are set free in this way.
Mhm.
So that's my passion. And my objective in giving these tools to our best leaders is so that they can create in a way that is more joyful and with more ease.
Well, I think that just to kind of close off this segment, what you're talking about is something that especially applies in this environment where there is so much that's emerging. So, your book and this whole idea of quantum surfing, very well timed. A little bit of luck
Yeah,
there, right?
for sure, for sure. 'Cause
Okay.
it was a while in the making. But you're absolutely right, Pam. I mean, we are in a time of incredible change,
Yeah.
and we don't have the tools to necessarily take advantage of that change. And so, what we typically find is we double down on the tools and approaches that have worked for us before. So we tried to get you to optimize further, to try to be faster. Even the way we're using AI right now is mostly to be faster
Yeah.
at
Mhm.
all the ways that we've already structured and optimized. Uh,
Exactly. It is.
so that is an approach that's really, it takes a lot of energy that doesn't leap into the opportunities that are available. So this is where I feel we're losing some of our best thinkers, is that their approach is to get there faster. I just have to work harder.
So we're
And
moving
that's a
from
challenge.
considering the world as cause and effect. If I do this hard enough, I'll get something I want, to probabilities, really.
It's a wonderful way to put it because you're absolutely right. If putting that science hat on, every wave is a probability wave.
That's right.
Okay. Now I'm going to stop us right here. We need to take a quick break. We will dig deeper, though, about what it means to go quantum surfing with author, TEDx speaker, and global entrepreneur and business strategist Monica Laurence. Stay with us.
This is Growth Igniters Radio with Pam Harper and Scott Harper. We're brought to you by Business Advancement Incorporated. That's us. And you can find us at businessadvance.com.
Well, here we are in our 12th year of Growth Igniters Radio, and we're proud that the show continues to gain recognition. Growth Igniters Radio has been named the 2026 Thinkers 360 Podcast of the Year. And we've also been honored by Popcom Podcast Awards, and we're ranked in the top 5% of podcasts worldwide by Listen Notes.
Growth Igniters Radio is now available in two ways. We're on audio, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. And now we're also on video, or video versions of this very episode. This is where you can see photos and animations that bring our conversations with great thinkers like Monica Laurence to life in a unique way. For links to audio and video episodes, go to growthignitersradio.com.
If you're finding value in our podcast, become a recommender. Follow Growth Igniters Radio on your favorite podcast app, audio, video, both. Write a review, share links to your favorite episodes with people in your network, and maybe it's even this one. Welcome back to Growth Igniters Radio with Pam Harper. That's me, and Scott Harper. Today, Scott and I are speaking with Monica Laurence, author, TEDx speaker, global entrepreneur, and business strategist, about how leaders can recognize luck and opportunities as they're emerging. Monica, tell people how they can find out more about you, your online course on quantum surfing. You have a lot of things you offer.
I do, Pam. You can always find me on LinkedIn at Monica Laurence. That's an easy way to converse with me, and we can explore what really fits on from what I have on offer. I do one-on-one coaching, I do masterminds, I coach teams, especially entrepreneurial teams. And you're absolutely right. I have several courses in quantum surfing 1, 2, and 3. And I also have an AI app that's in beta right now. It's called Lucky Breaks, and your AI coach is Kai, and he keeps you in the lucky mindset, which is that lucky flow. And it's really a matter of keeping perception open.
Oh, Monica, you're in the flow.
Yeah, a lot of different expressions of quantum surfing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can also find out more information and links for this episode by going to growthignitersradio.com, episode 425, and scrolling down to resources. And under resources, you'll also have a link available for that first conversation that we had with Monica. So now, in the first segment, we talked about what quantum surfing means, why Monica felt that that was the right term to capture everything that she has been going through and that she shares with us all.
Luck is not random. It's the ability
No,
to recognize it.
that's correct.
Okay.
Through the ability to take advantage of situations that are occurring in your environment so that you have a lucky outcome.
Now, when we were talking with you earlier before this conversation today, you were telling us that you have a story about a leader who learned to recognize the luck or opportunity
Several, yes.
Several, right as it was emerging. Can you share one with us?
Yeah, well, this is my book that you spoke so fondly of, and there's a chapter in here about Mary, and it's in the chapter called Curiosity, which is the first behavior of lucky people. So last year I was offering a 21-day accelerator called Next Level Now. And Mary had come to the first session and she was listening to the recording as she drove through the mountains here in Colorado on her way to an appointment. Mary is in sales. And she had with her an entire stack and a presentation for this sales pitch
Mhm.
that she had diligently prepared. She's absolutely on her game, and completely on target. But she was reflecting on the conversation from the accelerator. And she thought, I'm going to take this opportunity to try out some of these ideas.
Ah.
So when she got into the conversation, she set aside all of the documentation just to have an authentic field of possibility conversation with her client. And that led to an opening that no one expected. As she went down this path, eventually Mary closed a $20 million deal.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. And no one in her organization was ever expecting a deal of that size. So it was really out of the norm. And when they started asking Mary, how are you doing it? She says, well, I'm not using your linear approach and kind of your bump and grind way
Uh-huh.
of looking at the metrics. She says, I'm not checking in the format that you're telling me I should be doing. I'm using quantum surfing. And so I'm being open and curious. I'm being playful, experimental, inventive. I'm bringing in my optimism and sense of possibility. And when you start to do this, what you see is that seeds of opportunity can blossom in many different ways. They could blossom to $1 million deal, $5 million deal, or in this case, $20 million deal. Depends on how you nurture it. And so by using the quantum surfing techniques, she was able to produce these outsized results.
Wow, that is pretty impressive. Now, let's think about this a little more deeply. I mean, she really had to have some courage to throw aside everything that she'd been given. Uh,
Yeah,
was that part of what she had gained from going through this process, or was just naturally her?
it's probably a combination of both. I find that so often the people who come in quantum surfing already have these characteristics and these traits. They've just not had a way to put them into practice that produces results. So they keep following the playbooks that they're given. And those playbooks have a lot of expectations from management, from board members. And
Mhm.
so we keep following the playbooks. But there are a lot of innovators already in these organizations who, once they have a different set of tools in their head, they can put those to work and then only bring in the old playbooks when it really makes sense. So
Mhm.
it's a different way of producing results.
Now, it seems kind of obvious to me, at least, that we're not just talking about throwing the rules out the window.
No,
Who needs rules? Rules.
no,
No, it's a different discipline. Just
yes,
like real surfing is a discipline. It's not something you just get up
yeah,
and right
yeah,
away. So
no,
there's where the curiosity comes in. And
yes. So this isn't meant to say that that grinding or working hard doesn't have value.
yeah,
It can, but it's a tool.
okay.
And quantum surfing offers other tools. What I like to advise is to go ahead and immerse yourself in the quantum surfing tools so that you become facile and expert in them.
Mhm.
And then once you have established that mastery, you come to a situation and you have a sense of which tools to draw on, right? You have more tools at your disposal. So this is the real difference. It's not to say that everything that we're doing today is broken. It's that there are kind of like secret hacks that
Uh-huh.
are available that you can use in combination, and you're just selecting more deliberately.
I like what you're saying, Monica, because it's very in sync with the way that we believe, which is we focus on reimagining leadership for transformational growth. And when you're reimagining leadership, you just don't throw out everything.
Mm,
You look at what's possible, you use all the different things that are mindsets and understandings that are available to you, which is why we have you as a guest, so that you can draw on these different tools as it applies.
that's right. That's right.
And that's what we
In
need
this
to do.
in this area of leadership, what we really want to tap, initially, I would say, is strategic intuition,
Mhm.
Aha. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
right?
Yes.
absolutely.
Um, so intuition is very different from thinking. It's sensing, right? And when you have come to a point in your professional development, in your career, and in your leadership, you have a sense of what's happening. So often we override that,
Uh-huh.
or we leap quickly to fixing something that appears to be broken. If we can simply pause in the moment and ask a very simple question to say, what is this situation revealing to me?
Mhm.
And then write down everything that it's revealing, what you'll see over time is that you are much more akin to a hero on a hero's journey.
Uh-huh.
And that when the hero learns how to take advantage of pear-shaped situations,
Mhm.
then they're on a trajectory of success. So seeing your luck is a lot about knowing and trusting that there's information and clues already in your environment, that if you simply pause and ask a question such as, what is this revealing to me? You will end up with a plethora of different interpretations and a
Yes.
way to move more quickly through that event.
Yes. I mean, we talk about you and I talk about, something we call everyday adventures.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, we go out on everyday adventures every day. One of them was Scott Scott having a medical adventure, which is an everyday adventure. This was a while ago, and he had shoulder surgery. And,
And it also ties in with one of your favorite sayings, which is there's always more to the story, right?
oh, yeah.
There's what's on the surface, and there's what is revealed if you know where to look for it.
yeah, I
Mhm,
mean, even
mhm,
the way that
mhm.
you and I first got to know each other, Monica, was very
Yeah.
much that. And
Very much
so
so.
there's so many ways that what you're talking about comes into play. We could keep on going on this, and we'll go to the next section, but right now we're going to take another quick break. And when we
Fantastic.
come back, Scott and I will speak with author, TEDx speaker, global entrepreneur, and business strategist Monica Laurence about 3 immediately useful ideas for using the principles of quantum surfing to discover luck and opportunities as they're emerging. Stay with us.
You're listening to Growth Igniters Radio with Pam Harper and Scott Harper. We're brought to you by Business Advancement Incorporated. Find out how we work with visionary top leadership teams to ignite game-changing business innovation and transformational growth. Visit businessadvance.com.
Now, here's a question. If so many top leaders believe business innovation and transformation are essential to claiming their company's future, why can it still be so challenging to break what I call the orbit of the status quo? Now, this is when everyone's busy, you know that feeling, and the organization isn't really moving into the future, just going round and round, caught up in short-term priorities. Well, as an author and advisor to top leadership teams, that was the question that sent me on a long search for answers. So, what is it about these leaders I call growth igniters? How are they able to bring bold, transformational vision to life even as the world keeps changing? That's what I share in my keynote. Break Orbit, Achieving Long-Term Growth in a Short-Term World.
Go to PamHarperSpeaks.com today and schedule a call with Pam. Find out how Break Orbit can fit your next leadership conference or executive retreat.
Welcome back to Growth Igniters Radio with Pam Harper and Scott Harper. Over the last 2 segments, Scott and I have been speaking with author, TEDx speaker, global entrepreneur, and business strategist Monica Laurence. And we've been talking about how leaders can use what she calls quantum surfing to recognize luck and opportunities as they're emerging. Monica, remind us where people can find out more about you. You have all these different things you offered. I can't even keep them all in mind, but just tell us a few.
You can find me on LinkedIn at Monica Laurence. That's Lawrence with a U. And you can also find me at monicalaurence.com and many other places too. But I would be delighted to dive into quantum surfing with you and your team as a workshop, as an exploration, and to really allow you to start seeing opportunities as uncertainty is rising.
Yes. We are at the point in our episode where we talk about 3 immediately useful ideas. And in this case, it's applying Monica's principles of quantum surfing to find ourselves with more luck and opportunities even as they're emerging. So, Monica, let's take these one at a time. What would be the first immediately useful idea?
Well, we talked a little bit about this key question, which is what is being revealed in this situation. And what this really taps into is the behavior of resilience, which is one of the key lucky behaviors. And so often we think of resilience as being grit and doubling down and trying harder. And when we're doing that, we are actually putting those blinders on and we're not seeing the opportunities that are in our field. So, this key question, what is being revealed in this situation, allows us to have this more open perception, okay? Allows us to consider the possibility that this failure, this undesirable outcome is actually a hack, an accelerator, a positive twist in the plot, that if we can recognize it as such in the moment, that we can accelerate towards our end goal. We miss these. We miss these big opportunities because we think of them as failure, and then we double down and grind on our original path. So if we can just flip the script there, that would be key behavior and takeaway number 1.
Right. My dad used to say, opportunity often hides in adversity.
Wisdom from Dad. Yes.
So
Yeah, that's true. That's
now
true.
let's go to a second idea.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So when we are wanting to tap intuition and to sense intuition, there's a key question for this. And what you want to do is ask, how do I feel? But you can even change that first part of the question. You faced with a situation, you can say, what do I feel to do? What time do I feel to tackle this? Right? Who do I feel to call? What you're doing is you're substituting the word feel for think. It's an extraordinarily small change, but it completely shifts the way that you're receiving information. So when you're thinking, you're simply accessing what's available to you in your brain. When you're asking this feeling question, unbeknownst to you, it's more of like a sensing question, and you'll get hits of information that you weren't expecting. And the more you play with this, the more you cultivate this ability to feel a situation as well as think about it. So this would be the second way to really open your aperture of luck, right? Because luck is a flow state of perception.
Mhm.
So when we get into stress, our perception contracts.
Yeah.
And this is the interrupt that we're doing is we want to open perception to be in the field of possibility. So this second question, what do I feel, takes us out of the thinking brain, which is in fight or flight,
Mhm.
and allows us to sense other threads of information that are also available to us. They just needed a different question.
Okay, just a quick follow-up on that. A lot of people that I meet when we're advising are conflicted. They feel to do something. They also think, so they've got a war going on. I think to do this. I feel to do this. What do you advise people in that case?
I love that these people are already noticing this conflict because that's powerful in and of itself. That's a first step. If you're not certain how to proceed when you feel one way and you think another, best way is to develop a small experiment
Hmm.
so that you can kind of test the waters. So that's probably what I would do in the moment.
Mhm.
But then what I would also say is practice feeling. It becomes more and more clear, the signal, when you've been practicing feeling. It's
Mhm.
extraordinarily difficult to put it into effect on a high stakes situation.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, don't experiment on a high stakes opportunity, but it's a muscle.
Yeah.
I've said that
Yes,
before in other episodes. It's
yes,
whatever we're doing like this is a muscle to develop
yes.
so that when the time is right, you can do that. So let's go to our next immediately useful idea.
So again, this pattern interrupt when you find yourself in stress and perhaps a conflict between thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
Inject a little curiosity.
A
Right?
lot of
Just
curiosity.
loosen the reins.
Yeah.
Be a little playful. Inject a little randomness. Kind of loosen the situation. And that way, you're again diffusing the automatic reaction to double down and you're allowing openness to emerge. Curiosity is the number one behavior of people who are lucky versus people who are unlucky. So the more curious you can be, the more open, then that is going to put you in a great position for getting the results that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And in fact, if I'm thinking about it, anybody who is listening or watching this episode is experimenting with their curiosity. We have an episode really that challenges people to look at luck and opportunities as they emerge. And you might be thinking, is that possible? So we've been talking about that. This is the first experiment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really joyful, Pam. When you get into this mode, it really does feel like surfing rather than paddling.
Hmm.
It's more about a journey of being on discovery. And I love your adventures because that's just synonym for this sense of discovery and delight and
Right.
not judging everything as good or bad as it's happening through a lens that is more restrictive. It's cultivating this more open lens.
Yes. Well, Monica, we are at the end of our episode. And it feels like we're still scratching the surface, but can you leave
There's a
us
lot
with some
more.
final thoughts about, recognizing luck and opportunities as they emerge?
I would love for you to consider that the chaos that we are experiencing in our business environments, personal environments, political environments, climate environment, the chaos
Yep.
is an invitation to tap into a very powerful way of being, to tap into a joyful, powerful, and natural perspective that is available to each of us as humans. And that this is a chance to step into the true creators that we are. So the end of the day, I am super excited to see our most creative people unleashed. And I am so excited to see a world in which that's true.
Well, Monica, as always, this is just one more step in a really, really wonderful direction. And we're so glad that you are our guest today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this trajectory that you're on with elevating leadership. And it's such a joy and a pleasure to be a little part of the conversation that you're driving. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you, Monica. And to all of you out there who are listening and watching, thanks for listening and watching. To contact us, get show notes and resource links to this week's episode, go to growthignitorsradio.com today and select episode 425.
Until next time, this is Pam Harper
And Scott Harper.
wishing you continued success and leaving you with this question to reflect upon. As you think about an important situation you're facing right now, what's one lucky behavior that could help you catch luck as it's emerging?
Growth Igniters and Growth Igniters Radio with Pam Harper and Scott Harper are registered service marks of Business Advancement Incorporated. All Growth Igniters Radio episodes are copyrighted productions of Business Advancement Incorporated, intended for the private use of our audience. Except as otherwise provided by copyright law, all other uses including copying, editing, redistribution, and publication without prior written consent of Business Advancement Incorporated are prohibited. All rights reserved.